Can you imagine what life would be like if vampires truly existed? Not the glamorous, fictional beings of cinema, not the monsters who burst into flames at dawn or sparkle in sunlight, but something far quieter, far more human. What if, among us, there were people who didn't quite live like we do? They work when we sleep, they eat differently, they don't age like we do, and they remember things that no human alive remembers. What if they looked just like us, spoke like us, moved like us, but carried a biological legacy that set them apart? Not cursed, not magical, but evolved. Picture this. You're sitting in a quiet cafe late at night. A pale man sits 2 tables away. He stirs his coffee but never drinks it. He's not staring at his phone. He's watching people, studying, observing, like someone who's seen the world change 1,000 times. You walk past him, and for a moment, just a moment, you feel something strange, a pressure, a pull, like you're being noticed, deeply noticed. What if he wasn't just another insomniac? What if he was part of a lineage that predates every modern city, every constitution, every flag? In this long, meditative journey, we will imagine that world, a world in which human vampires really exist. We'll walk through science, history, and ethics. We'll wonder how such beings could have emerged, survived, and shaped the very world we live in. So let go of what you think you know. And let's ask the question, what if human vampires actually existed? If vampires were real, where would they come from? Let's leave behind curses and bites. Let's talk biology. In nature, blood drinking isn't rare. It's called hematophagy, and it's found in bats, insects, fish, and even birds like the vampire finch. Now, imagine a human ancestor, isolated, pushed to extremes, adapting to survive where others couldn't. A rare mutation, a genetic glitch. They don't digest food like we do. Their body needs something more direct, blood. Over generations, those who fed at night, who avoided the sun, began to thrive. Maybe they developed denser skin to retain moisture in desert climates. Maybe their vision adapted to darkness. Maybe their lifespan lengthened due to slower cell metabolism. They didn't sparkle, they didn't burn, but they changed. Imagine these people hiding in deep mountain valleys, in the shadows of early civilization, never numerous, never dominant, but always present. They watched human empires rise and fall. They learned to stay hidden, to adapt, to survive. And their descendants? They're still here. If vampires were real, then history is their mask. In Sumerian tablets, we find the tale of Lamashtu, a demoness who drank blood and stole children. But what if she wasn't myth? What if that was someone's terrified memory? In ancient Egypt, the priests of the House of Life performed blood rituals. Some wore amulets said to prevent decay. What if those rituals weren't symbolic, but practical? In China, tales of the Jiangshi describe corpses who rise at night and feed. But the oldest records speak not of dead men, but of men who refused to die. In Greece, philosophers debated the soul, memory, and death. What if they debated with beings who had experienced them all? And in Rome, imagine a vampire senator, centuries of political insight, unaging hands behind every vote. Every myth has roots. Maybe some are buried deeper than others. The Middle Ages, a time of superstition, a time of fear, but also a time of deals. What if vampires made a pact, not with the devil, but with kings? You are a desperate lord. Your land is failing. Plague has taken half your people. Then a stranger visits. He promises health, strength, protection, He asks for privacy and blood, just a little, just from the criminals, the sick. You agree. Years later, your land flourishes. Your enemies are mysteriously defeated, and that pale man still looks the same. Rumors spread, the villagers whisper, a holy man arrives, but the vampire disappears. The deal is forgotten until the next lord finds himself in need. History may be written by the victors, but the survivors, they write it in whispers. So, how would a real vampire work? Their biology would be precise. Eyes adapted for low light, large pupils, reflective retinas, like cats. Skin pale, with a higher concentration of melanin inhibitors. Heart rate slower, blood circulation more efficient. Lungs with greater oxygen exchange to stay calm under stress. Teeth, yes, elongated canines. Not absurdly sharp, but efficient. Their blood consumption? It wouldn't be for drama, it would be medical. They lack certain enzymes. Their stomach can't process traditional proteins, but blood is simple, universal, efficient. They might suffer from something akin to porphyria or iron processing disorders. They need heme, and blood is full of it. Their longevity? Not eternal, but impressive. Studies on deep-sea creatures show that slower metabolism extends life. A vampire's biology might age at 1/10 the speed of ours. 100 years to us is 10 to them. Imagine a vampire city, not above ground, but deep underground, or inside a mountain, hidden for centuries. These aren't Gothic castles from films. They're functional, sustainable, lit by bioluminescent fungus, ventilated by natural drafts. A society built on patience, art that takes decades, books passed down for centuries, music with instruments no human has ever seen. Their diet evolved. They don't hunt, they grow. Blood farms, synthetic supplements, voluntary donors. Their ethics are strict. No feeding without consent. No exposure to the surface without discipline. No turning humans without council approval. To them, time is a resource. They move slowly. They build legacy. Imagine speaking to someone who remembers the invention of the printing press. Not from books, but from memory. In today's world, how could vampires stay hidden? Think. Night security guards, forensic pathologists, deep web coders, Antarctic researchers. Anywhere that isolation is a feature, not a flaw. They use encrypted networks. They run blood logistics. They own private clinics. They monitor global health data. They have rules. Never expose yourself. Never overfeed. Never stay in one place too long. But sometimes, mistakes happen. A body drained of blood. A pale figure caught on night vision. An old photo that shouldn't exist. And when that happens, they relocate, erase, adapt. They've survived for millennia. They won't stop now. If vampires were discovered today, how would the world react? Some would panic, others would worship. Governments would argue, are they citizens? Are they human? Vampires would face discrimination, protests, laws, fear. Imagine a vampire child in school, told they can't attend during daylight, told they can't join sports, told they must declare their biology. Imagine love across the line, a human and a vampire, legally married, socially shunned. Would vampires need passports, blood permits, medical tracking, or would we learn to accept them? After all, they feel, they think, they remember. Are they really so different? With vampire cooperation, humanity could leap forward. Medical breakthroughs, from their genetics, cures for anemia, aging, and organ rejection. Supercomputing minds that work without sleep. But there's danger. A vampire army would be unstoppable. One vampire with centuries of strategy could destabilize governments. Espionage, cyber warfare, biological manipulation. Could we trust them? Could they trust us? The future would hinge on cooperation, on law, on ethics, on empathy. If we fail, it's war. If we succeed, it's evolution. As you listen to this, maybe there's someone nearby, someone who seems a bit too calm, a bit too old for their face, someone who always orders rare meat, but never finishes it. Maybe they know more than they let on. Maybe they've lived longer than you can imagine. Maybe they're watching, not with hunger, but with memory, and maybe with hope. Hope that one day the secret can end, and the world will be ready. So the next time you walk alone at night, look around. You might not be alone.